The woman America loved wore a smile that hid unspeakable pain. For decades, Doris Day was the face of happiness in Hollywood. She sang beautiful songs, starred in beloved films, and seemed to live a fairy tale life. Millions of fans thought she had it all, but they were wrong. Behind the cheerful actress was a darker story, a story filled with secrets she refused to share. Now, her grandson has broken his silence. At 41 years old, he's revealing truths that will shock you. Truths about what really happened when the cameras stopped rolling. Stay with us as we uncover the hidden life of Doris Day, the abuse she survived, the betrayal she endured, and the heartbreaking family split that haunted her final years. Doris Day entered the world as Doris Marianne Kappelhoff on April 3, 1922 in Cincinnati, Ohio. Her family wasn't rich. They were ordinary working people trying to get by. Her father taught music while her mother struggled to raise Doris and her brothers alone after a painful divorce, something rarely talked about in those days. When Doris was only 12, she proved she was special. She won a competition by holding a handstand for more than 3 hours straight. Her prize? Free dance lessons. Dancing became her passion and her way to escape reality. Then at age 14, everything changed in an instant. A train crashed into the car she was riding in. The impact crushed her legs so badly that doctors worried she might never walk again. For over a year, she couldn't leave her bed. The dancing career she dreamed of seemed impossible now. But Doris found something else during those dark months. She discovered music. Lying in bed, she sang along to radio shows. She listened to Ella Fitzgerald and learned that her own voice had power. The power to heal her spirit even when her body couldn't move. By 15, Doris was performing in small clubs and earning money with her voice. One evening, a band leader named Barney Rapp watched her sing. He immediately recognized her talent. In 1939, Rapp gave her a new name based on a song she loved to perform. That name was Doris Day, a name the world would never forget. Everything changed for Doris Day on March 15, 1940. At just 18 years old, she got her chance to join Les Brown's famous band, but she almost didn't make it. Before her audition, fear took over completely. Her hands shook. Her stomach turned. She felt sick and couldn't control her nerves. Les Brown saw her panic and did something kind. He reminded her that he'd already heard her beautiful voice on the radio. Those words gave her courage. Doris walked onto that stage and sang "Embraceable You." The response was immediate. She got the job right there.
Right there.
But happiness didn't last long. Shortly after joining the band, Doris received devastating news. Her brother Paul had died in a car accident. Her heart shattered into pieces. Yet that same night, she still went on stage and performed. She pushed through the grief because that's what professionals did. Her biggest moment came in 1945 with a song called "Sentimental Journey." At first, Les Brown didn't like the song. He thought it sounded too old and boring. But Doris believed in it so strongly that she told him she'd quit if they didn't record it. He finally gave in. That decision changed everything. The song exploded across America, selling over 1 million copies within 1 year. Soldiers coming home from World War II felt every word. Every word. The song captured their longing, their hope, their pain. Doris had stood her ground and won. She fought for what she believed in. And the result was its magic, recorded perfectly in one single take. The song sold millions, got nominated for an Academy Award, and became so popular that the record company had to stop releasing other music just to keep up with orders. Doris Day's journey wasn't easy. It was built on fear she conquered, losses she survived, and decisions she refused to compromise on. In 1953, Doris Day faced a song she absolutely hated. The song was written for her movie Calamity Jane, and she thought it was too sweet and emotional. She said no and meant it. The film's director got desperate. Late one night, he showed up at her door with champagne and a piano player. He begged her to try it just once. Doris finally agreed to sing it one time. Just one take. No second chances. What happened next became legendary. She poured every hidden feeling into that performance. When she finished, nobody spoke. The recording was perfect exactly as it was. No changes needed. That song, "Secret Love," took over the charts for months. It won an Academy Award. It became one of the most famous songs in history. Yet Doris remained so shy about it that she couldn't bring herself to perform it in front of live audiences. Her movie career started almost by accident a few years earlier. Someone heard her singing at a party and suggested she try acting. At the exact same time, a major film role suddenly became available. Though nervous and untrained, Doris stepped in and amazed everyone with her natural talent in Romance on the High Seas in 1948. That one performance made her a star overnight and got her a long contract with the studio. During the 1950s, Doris became known for musical films. The Pajama Game showed her playful humor and perfect timing. But then came Love Me or Leave Me in 1955, a darker and more serious role. Critics were stunned. She wasn't just the smiling singer anymore. She was a real actress with depth and power. By the late 1950s and early 1960s, Doris Day was the biggest box office star in America. Pillow Talk came out in 1959, pairing her with Rock Hudson. The romantic comedy became a massive hit and earned her an Oscar nomination. Together, they represented an entire era of Hollywood glamour. Doris was on top of the world, but staying there meant constant pressure to be perfect, to always smile, to never show weakness. When her television show ended in the early 1970s, Doris made a choice. She walked away from fame completely. After leaving Hollywood in 1978, Doris Day found a new purpose that mattered more to her than any movie role. She started what became the Doris Day Animal Foundation. It began small, with local rescue efforts and animals she cared for personally at her home. But her love for animals grew into something much bigger. By the mid-1990s, Doris was fighting against animal overpopulation worldwide. In 1995, she launched World Spay Day, a program that eventually reached over 70 countries and saved millions of animals from suffering and death. Even though she avoided public attention, Doris used her famous name to push for stronger laws protecting animals. Her influence was still powerful. Then in 2011, at 89 years old, Doris surprised everyone by releasing a new album called My Heart. My Heart. The recordings were made years earlier and included songs written by her late son, Terry. One touching song even combined both their voices together. Fans around the world were moved. The album broke records and reminded everyone that her voice still carried incredible emotion. But after that, Doris disappeared from public view again. Her last message came on her 97th birthday in 2019. She thanked her fans and asked them to continue caring for animals, the cause closest to her heart. Long before fame found her, Doris Day's life turned dark. At just 17 years old, she married Al Jordan, a 23-year-old musician. Her mother begged her not to do it, but Doris believed love would conquer everything, and she was wrong. Almost immediately after their wedding in April 1941, the nightmare began. And one night, Doris politely kissed a fellow band member on the cheek to say thank you. It was innocent and harmless, but Al Jordan exploded with jealous rage. He dragged her out of the theater in front of everyone, through the streets of New York, and back to their hotel room. There, he beat her violently. That was just the beginning. When Doris became pregnant, the violence got worse. Jordan demanded she get an illegal abortion. When she refused, he attacked her so brutally that she almost lost the baby. The most terrifying moment happened late in her pregnancy. Jordan drove her to an isolated location with a gun hidden in the car. His plan was to kill her, their unborn baby, and then himself. Doris only survived by staying calm and talking him out of it. But the fear never went away. She hoped her second marriage would be different. In 1946, Doris married George Weidler, a saxophone player who seemed like a fresh start. She was a young single mother who fell in love quickly, and they moved to Hollywood with big dreams. At first, everything seemed better. But reality set in fast. Weidler didn't want to be a stepfather. He also grew uncomfortable as Doris's career started taking off. Just 8 months after the wedding, he asked for a divorce. Nay, he admitted he didn't want to live in her shadow or be known as Mr. Doris Day. The rejection crushed her. By 1949, Doris returned to Cincinnati with her son, searching for peace and stability. When she married Martin Melcher in 1951, she truly believed she'd found the right man at last. She had no idea this marriage would bring the worst betrayal of all. While Doris worked and trusted completely, her husband Martin Melcher and his business partner, Jerome Rosenthal, were stealing her fortune. Behind her back, they poured her earnings into foolish investments and risky ventures. Doris never questioned their decisions. She trusted Martin with everything. Then in 1968, Martin suddenly died. That's when Doris discovered the horrifying truth. All the money she thought she had, roughly $150 million in today's value, was gone. Completely gone. Even worse, she was buried in massive debt she knew nothing about. But the shock didn't stop there. Without ever telling her, Melcher had signed her to a television contract with CBS. Doris had been one of the most powerful film stars in Hollywood. Now she was trapped. She had no money and no choice but to do television work she never wanted. She fought back by suing Rosenthal in court. She won a multi-million-dollar judgment in 1974. But after legal fees and insurance settlements, she only recovered a tiny fraction of what was stolen. The betrayal destroyed more than her bank account. It broke her spirit. Doris had planned to retire after finishing her last film in 1968, but debt forced her to keep working. She learned about the Doris Day Show just weeks before filming began. The advance payment had already been spent by Melcher before his death. So Doris smiled on camera while dying inside. Every episode reminded her of everything she'd lost. The one bright spot in her life remained her son, Terry Melcher, born in 1942. Though Martin later adopted Terry, the boy grew up in a tense household and learned to be independent early. By the 1960s, Terry had built an impressive career in the music industry, producing hit songs and working with famous bands. But darkness touched his life too. In 1968, Terry narrowly avoided tragedy after moving out of a house in Los Angeles. That same house later became connected to one of the most shocking and famous crimes in American history. Whether Terry was ever in real danger remains unknown. But the shadow of what could have happened never completely left. One day after Doris Day died on May 13, 2019, a heartbreaking truth came to light that shocked her fans. Her only grandson, Ryan Melcher, posted on Facebook that he hadn't spoken to his famous grandmother in 14 years. Even more painful, he didn't learn about her death from family. He found out on social media, just like millions of strangers. It was a stunning admission that revealed how deeply broken their family had become. The split started in 2004, the year Ryan's father, Terry Melcher, died from melanoma at age 62. After Terry's death, Doris reached out to Ryan. She invited him to dinner, offering what seemed like a chance to reconnect. Their relationship had been damaged since Ryan's parents divorced in 1997. But this felt like hope, a way back to family. That hope died quickly. Before the dinner could happen, Doris's business manager, Bob Bashara, called Ryan to a meeting at the Cypress Inn, a hotel Doris owned in Carmel, California. According to Ryan, Bashara questioned why Ryan wanted to see Doris at all. When Ryan answered that she was his grandmother, he was shocked by what happened next. Instead of helping them reconnect, Bashara told Ryan he would not be allowed to see Doris. He even suggested the problem started with Ryan's parents' divorce. From beating ended everything. It marked the beginning of a silence that lasted until Doris died. Looking back, Ryan admitted he had regrets. He said the security gates and physical barriers around Doris's home made it nearly impossible to reach her. Yet he still wondered if he should have tried harder. Over time, Ryan built his own life as a real estate agent in Carmel. But the tension never fully disappeared. Ryan also claimed that Bashara changed Doris's Animal Welfare Foundation, removing longtime board members and replacing them with people loyal to him. However, another side of the story emerged. Doris Day's publicist Charlie Cullen Walters, who worked with her from 2011 until her death, disputed Ryan's version. Walters said the family made multiple attempts to reconnect. He specifically mentioned an invitation to Doris's 90th birthday party in 2014, a moment that could have brought the family back together. According to Walters, Ryan never responded to the invitation. Walters also pointed out that Ryan's own website once discouraged people from contacting him about celebrity or Hollywood topics. This suggested Ryan may have intentionally distanced himself from the fame connected to his grandmother. From this perspective, the estrangement wasn't just rejection. It was mutual misunderstanding and missed communication on both sides. In her final years, Doris Day completely withdrew from public life. After Martin Melcher's death, she chose privacy over stardom. By the 1990s, almost nobody saw her anymore. She lived quietly on an 11-acre ranch in Carmel, California, surrounded by animals. At times, she cared for nearly 30 dogs at once, each with its own comfortable space. Her world became small, but it was filled with meaning and love for creatures who needed her. Fired, she refused public honors, avoided traveling, and embraced simplicity. Local residents remembered her as gentle, kind, and devoted to rescuing stray animals. After Terry died, Doris became even more isolated. She placed complete trust in Bashara to handle her affairs and protect her from the outside world. Whether that protection eventually became unhealthy isolation is still debated. What cannot be debated is the sadness underneath it all. This is a family story shaped by loss, distance, and opportunities that were never taken. It unfolded quietly behind closed doors while the rest of the world remembered only the smiling face of one of Hollywood's greatest legends. Doris Day gave the world joy through her voice and her films. But the price she paid was suffering most people never knew about. Abuse that nearly destroyed her. Betrayal that stole her fortune. And a family separation that left wounds no one could heal before time ran out. Now you know the secret she kept hidden for years. The question that remains is this: was the woman who made millions smile ever truly happy herself?